Hello and welcome to this James the Bike Guy, where today we're getting to check out a bike that has something pretty unique that often we don't come across. And that is a personality that is defined by one key feature, and it's not even the bike's titanium frame, but instead this bike uses, well, you saw it, a Pinion drivetrain, a 12-speed drivetrain without any derailleurs, a titanium frame, and it's made by a brand that once hung its laurels on providing only the priorities that you need in a bike. This is the Priority Gemini Titanium. Checking out the Gemini from Priority Cycles. Now, Priority Bicycles has been around for, well, a while now. I'd guess over a decade, and I should know that before having the video start. But the point being that when they came out, they had a few bare bones bikes with durable drivetrains, durable frame, just what you need and nothing you don't. And while bougie as it may be, this bike does have a lot of exactly what you need, just in a really nice way. And the first thing that I really want to draw attention to before we talk about its personality defining drivetrain is that this is a beautiful titanium frame in a pinned shot finish frame setup here. So it's kind of like a matte color to it, but you can see a lot of what's going on with the bike. And it's just an absolutely gorgeous look throughout, with triplicate mounts up top for bags. You of course got a down tube and a seat tube bag mount. Up front is a carbon fiber fork, through axle, 12 by 100 millimeter up front, and of course rocking some mounts on the side to be able to run fenders up front if you wanted to. And then out back is more mounts galore. Of course, these really nicely finished Priority badges that are both understated but super classy looking, and a 12 by 142 millimeter rear through axle setup. The bike is of course also flat mount disc brakes on both the front and the rear, and this particular rig, you'll notice, looks kind of like a single speed from the back end, and that's because the Pinion drivetrain is running through a single belt drive from Gates. So Gates is the premier belt manufacturer for bicycles. They also make belts for companies like Harley Davidson and more. But because of this setup, a belt isn't like a chain where you have a pin to open up the belt and be able to pull it off. Instead, you have to have a split in the seat stay. So if we take a look here, you see how we've got that seam right there. That allows you to spread the top of the seat stay and the bottom where it connects to the dropout. Open it up, allow you to pull the belt off if you want to, be able to change the size of the cog out back. And much like a single speed, it needs to have then sliding dropouts, which you tension the belt drive system on the bike. And one of the really neat things about belt drives is that system, aside from keeping it clean, doesn't need to have any lubrication. It really doesn't get upset with snow or mud or stuff like that. It just powers through and makes for an incredibly reliable setup. Of course, once you pair that up with the Pinion system that's up front, it adds 12 speeds to that belt drive reliability. Now with a drivetrain that has 12 gears, 6,000 miles of service intervals between them. And to go even further, and why I keep making the jokes of this being grown up to something incredibly nice, well, that is because it's also running TRP's high wire shifters, which is an electronic shifting setup to the Smart.Shift technology of the Pinion Gearbox. That's right, this is electronically shifting those 12 speeds. And what's really unique with the high wire to Smart.Shift setup is in between charges, you can go for about 10,000 shifts, which is just an absolutely incredible amount of shifting. There's 12 speeds and 600% gear range going through this Pinion setup. And while these Pinion drives are both very costly and a little bit heavy, you're trading that off with some incredible durability, some incredible performance, because Pinion drivetrains can be shifted under load. I mean, you can be full 100% load on this bike and it's going to snap through some shifts. Now, unfortunately, this particular one, I'm not going to get to ride. It's not my bike. It's not a bike I'm able to ride, but I have ridden a Priority before this that had the same Pinion Gearbox with a mechanical shift that I'll link just up above. That was really a treat to be able to ride. Now, of course, with the titanium frame and the carbon fiber fork, the other nice things to mention is we do have an aluminum cockpit on the bike. Out back, you've got a carbon seat post with a WTB Volt saddle. And really neat on this bike is it is coming stock with 700 by 40C tires, but it has some really generous room in the back end and the front, with Priority stating that it ought to be able to fit all the way up to 50 millimeter tires on those 700C WTB rims. Well, anyways, now that we've taken a look at all of those features, let's go ahead and find out what this bike weighs. The actual weight of this Priority Gemini Titanium comes in and weighs 26.12 pounds. Thanks so much for joining me to check out the Priority Gemini. I've made a couple of jokes about how bougie this $5,500 bike is, but I do truly think it is quite the rig, and if this is up your alley, it's a neat bike to take a look at. Now, unfortunately, Priority is pretty much only direct to consumer, so it's tough to come across them in a store, but if you get a chance to ride at Buddy's, I highly suggest you do, because I'm a bit jealous I didn't get to ride this one. So go ahead and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. While you're at it, be sure to hit subscribe, and definitely browse the channel to check out more videos like this to see as well.